How to teach reading. Groups member Maya Uliani, Nurul Indah Fauziyah, Anggie Yosinta, Riska Endriani, Havizah Zuriati, and Muj Panji Prabaskoro. Teaching reading. Reading ability will be developed best in association with writing, listening, and speaking activities. Even in those courses that may be labeled reading, your goals will be best achieved by capitalizing on the interrelationship of skills, especially the reading-writing connection. Research on reading a second language. By the 1970s, first language reading research had been flourishing for a couple of decades as solutions were being sought to why some children couldn't read. But research on reading in a second language was almost non-existent. A glance through what is now 3 decades of research reveals some significant findings that will affect you and your approach to teaching reading skills. Some of the highlights are reviewed here. 1. Bottom-up and top-down processing. In bottom-up processing, reader must first recognize a multiplicity of linguistic signals, letters, morphemes, syllables, words, phrases, grammatical cues, discourse markers, and use their linguistic data processing mechanism to impose some sort of order on this signal. 2. Schema theory and background knowledge. These are the sorts of questions addressed by what has come to be known as schema theory, the hallmark of which is that text does not by itself carry meaning. The reader brings information, knowledge, emotion, experience, and culture, that is, schemata, plural, to the printed word. 3. The role of object and culture. It is readily apparent from just a cursory survey of research on second language acquisition that affective factors play major roles in ultimate success, just as language ego, self-esteem, empathy, and motivation undergird the acquisition of spoken discourse. Reading is subject to variability within the affective domain. For the power of extensive reading, a current issue in pedagogical research on reading is the extent to which learners will learn to read better in a laissez-faire atmosphere of a rich surrounding or in instructor sequence of direct attention to the strategies of efficient reading. 5. Adult literacy training. Teaching literacy is a specialist field of research and practice that derives insight from a number of psycholinguistic and pedagogical domains of inquiry. Strategies for reading comprehension. 1. Identify the purpose in reading. 2. Use graphemic rules and patterns to aid in bottom-up decoding, especially for beginning level learners. 3. Use efficient silent reading techniques for relatively rapid comprehension, for intermediate to advanced levels. 4. Skim the text for main ideas. 5. Scan the text for specific information. 6. Use semantic mapping or clustering. 7. Guess when you are not certain. Learners can use guessing to their advantage too. Guess the meaning of a word. Guess a grammatical relationship. Guess a discourse relationship. Infer implied meaning. Guess about a cultural reference. Guess content messages. 8. Analyze vocabulary. 9. Distinguish between literal and implied meanings. 10. Capitalize on discourse markers to process relationship. Types of classroom reading performance. 1. Oral and silent reading. At the beginning and intermediate levels, oral reading can A. Serve as an evaluative check on bottom-up processing skills. B. Double as a pronunciation check. C. Serve to add some extra student participation if you want to highlight a certain short segment of a reading passage. The disadvantage of too much oral reading can easily come into play. A. Oral reading is not a very authentic language activity. B. While one student is reading, others can easily lose attention. C. It may have the outward appearance of student participation when in reality it is more recitation. 2. intensive and extensive reading. Intensive reading calls students' attention to grammatical forms, discourse markers, and other surface structure details for the purpose of understanding literal meaning, implication, rhetorical relationship, and the like. Extensive reading is carried out to achieve a general understanding of a usually somewhat longer text. Principles for designing interactive reading techniques. 1. In an interactive curriculum, make sure that you don't overlook the importance of specific instruction in reading skills. 2. Use techniques that are intrinsically motivating. 3. Balance authenticity and readability in choosing text. 4. Encourage the development of reading strategies. 5. Include both bottom-up and top-down techniques. 6. Follow the SQ3R sequence. Survey, question, read, recite, review. Survey. Skim the text for an overview of main ideas. Question. The reader asks questions about what he or she wishes to get out of the text. Read. Read the text while looking for answers to the previously formulated questions. Recite. Reprocess the salient point of the text through oral or written language. Review. Assess the importance of what one has just read and incorporate it into long-term association. 7. Subdivide your techniques into pre-reading, during reading, and after reading phases. 8. Build in some evaluative aspect to your techniques. Consider some of the following overt responses that indicate comprehension. Doing. The reader responds physically to a command. Choosing. The reader selects from alternative post orally or in writing. Transferring. The reader summarizes orally what is read. Answering. The reader answers questions about the passage. Condensing. The reader outlines or takes notes on a passage. Extending. The reader provides an ending to a story. Duplicating. The reader translates the message into the native language or copies it. Modeling. The reader puts together a toy, for example, after reading directions for assembly. Conversing. The reader engages in a conversation that indicates appropriate processing of information. Lesson plan. The topic is reading. The material narrative text. Level 12 in semester 2. Duration 2 times 45 minutes. Indicators. Identify the settings of the tell short story that they have read. Identify the main characters of the tell short story. Identify the plot of the tell short story. Identify the problem arises followed by other problems of the tell short story. And identify the solution to the problem of the tell short story. Step in learning. A. Pre-activity. Teacher tell about the indicators that will be reached. B. Main activity. Teacher asks the students to listen to the tell short story. Teacher asks the students to identify the story. Setting, main character, plot, problems, and solution for the problem. C. Post-activity. Teacher asks the students to discuss making up a difference about climax and ending. Teacher gives chance to the students to ask their problems. Teacher gives homework to students for write a short story. Assessment. Cinderella. Once upon a time there was a girl named Cinderella. She lived with her stepmother and two stepsisters. They were very busy. They made Cinderella do all the housework. One day, an invitation to the ball came to the family. Her stepsister would not let her go. They made her busy all day long. Cinderella was sad because she wanted to go to the ball. They went to the ball without her. Fortunately, a fairy godmother came and helped her to get to the ball. At the ball, Cinderella danced with the prince. She was very happy at the ball. Questions below. How many characters are mentioned in the story? Why was Cinderella sad? What is the purpose of the text? Show us the generic structure of the text. Is there any rearrangation in the text above? Why? Goals. To respond the meaning of simple of monologue using oral language accurately, fluently, and assertively in daily life context in the form of narrative text.